Hello, everybody. We have a whopper of one for you today. XRP and Wallstreet. R3 Enterprise blockchain platform is directly, yes, directly connected to the XRP ledger. Why does that matter for you moving forward? And would you see some things that, let's face it, would reflect in the price? Well, I don't think we're going to get quite to that overnight, but we know that with regulations and mandates, these these key things that we share could be a very, very big deal here soon. Consider smashing that like if you haven't done so already. Let's get into all the material and why it matters to you.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. With just a few taps, you can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.
Let's start off with this. Once again, coming from Smoke, doing it big as always. He has this, and it is the reference to, of course, Wallstreet. In the citation, he mentions that Ripple is ready to offer bank-grade custody solutions, while Wallstreet crypto custody services have seen the most advancements, as shown in the diagram below. There's no coincidences, he says, see for yourself. All right, well, let's see what he's talking about. So for one, it's this, cited from Ripple. Mentions they are launching new features for Ripple custody. Think about that for a moment. And on top of it, bringing bank-grade custody solutions to fintech and crypto businesses. Simplified onboarding, XRPL tokenization, and DEX support, pre-configured policy frameworks, again, compliance, monitoring, new UI, you kind of get the gist, but especially when we talk about bringing bank-grade custody solutions to crypto businesses, there are a lot of businesses that are entering into this space or already have. All right, how about this for size? Well, it's hard to reference this without interpreting it, right? So translated from Indonesian to, of course, English. An official document released by the International Monetary Fund. Shout out to Jesse. He's got a whopper of one for you guys. Probably, in my opinion, was going to be the goat of all IMF discussions. But whatever the case be, the IMF back in February 2024 suddenly became a hot topic after being brought up again by a crypto researcher named Smoke on the X platform. The report reveals that R3's enterprise blockchain platform is in fact directly connected to the XRP ledger, particularly in the context of the National Stablecoin Initiative of the small Pacific island nation of Palau. I covered Palau in the past, multiple people have, but this is something that he recently decided to kind of reshare. And like it says here, May 30th. So very, very recent. So taking into why this matters to you from the actual website, indodax.com, well, it's a list of contents. The report reveals that R3's enterprise blockchain platform is directly connected to XRPL. And again, this whole thing with Palau. As we pull up the reference, it's what is referred to in the documentation from R3. Because even in a recent, or as recent as 2024, the IMF confirmed that, quote, R3 is based on the XRP blockchain. This is, in fact, documented. All right, let's pull up what he is referring to. As you see it here, let's blow this up just a tad bit. It says here specifically, the International Monetary Fund, Asia and Pacific, and Monetary and Capital Markets Departments with information, technology, legal, and strategy, policy, and review departments. Implications for Pacific Island countries. Of course, Palau was one of the ones I mentioned, but the rise of digital money. Again, departmental paper. Okay, so again, I just want to share that visual, but it's the next page is what really, really counts. And here's why. As I pull this up, you see here from the IMF about rise of digital money. The highlight that mentions specifically there's a plan, like it says here, aside from central bank digital currency, crypto asset stablecoins, there's a plan to issue sovereign stablecoins by late 2022, but states based on R3 XRP blockchain. So we're well past 2022, obviously. But again, based on those, that's incredibly interesting. There are no unbacked crypto assets used in the country. There's no absolute but implicit ban on crypto assets activities. The Republic of Palau Financial Services Regulation oversees crypto asset activities. I'm just going to state this. I'm going to jump back in the frame for a moment. I know that you are wanting to just scream out and let everybody know and spill the beans about what you discovered with your code breaking, if you will, with the IMF. But if anything, this is a nice little promotion of that. Before we actually finalize everything with Credit Suisse, I definitely want to get your key takeaway because I know that you are tempted to spill the beans, but you're not, and that's okay. I respect it. By all means, have people watch the video, of course, on your channel. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so actually today I did a video. So I did okay, two videos here. I did a video a few weeks ago about the IMF XRP connection. I literally laid out why the XRP is the new special drawing rights of the IMF. But that video I cracked the code. Okay, it gets deeper than that. I explained exactly what is the role between Ripple and IMF. Anyways, you have to watch that video, but the audio was not good. It was not great. My thumbnail was not great either. And so I have to redo the video. But it's called the Rising Phoenix XRP IMF connection if you want to watch it. But today I was talking about what he's showing right now. Shout out to Smoke Dog. I actually did a video on that today because I did a video called XRP Unified Ledger Part 2 a few days ago, which Brad Kimes, shout out to Brad Kimes of Digital Perspective, man. He took out my video. He took my video, did a full breakdown of my video, and asked me to be on his show. I was just blown away because I've been watching him for years. I couldn't believe it. It's the first time I see him literally taking a video and doing a full breakdown of one video and not talking about anything else. So he just dedicated the whole video to my video. I didn't sleep for 2 days, man. I was so excited. I was like, you're kidding me? So that was part 2, where I prove undeniable, irrefutable facts that the unified ledger is the XRP ledger. The unified ledger, shared ledger, regulated liability network, it's all the shared ledger. And Gilbert Verdian said, while he was referring to the regulated liability network, he said, we also partnered with R3, who are bringing in the shared ledger where all of the tokenized assets will reside. Excuse me. So, because Gilbert Verdian said we provided the programmability and the interoperability and custom APIs for the project, but R3 brought the shared ledger. Okay. So today I did video part 3. So it's a sequel of part 2, where I show at least 8-9 different ways that the shared ledger, unified ledger, regulated liability network, it's all the XRP ledger. And one of the mentions in my video is actually this document that Smoke Dog just came out and showed, right? So, I mean, that was not supposed to release. That was not supposed to be in there. Okay, the IMF has people, editors that go through all the documents. I assure you, they go through all documents. The World Bank has the same. The central banks have the same. They go through all the documents. They make sure that they don't mention XRP anywhere, or they don't make it crystal clear, that the XRP ledger is the main shared ledger, unified ledger, yada, yada, okay? I can guarantee you that this is probably not supposed to be there, okay? The lady, whoever's supposed to go through documents, make sure nothing slips, she missed this one. She slipped, okay? So maybe when she watches our video, she's going to lose her job, or he or she or whatever, but we're not supposed to be able to see this, okay? And so I explained in my videos that R3 and Ripple had a partnership. Ripple gave $5 billion to R3 for less than a penny each years ago. And R3's job was to bring utility and use cases, bring volume to the XRP ledger. There was a dispute, there was a lawsuit, and I believe they settled for 1 billion XRP. R3 still has 1 billion XRP. Okay, they didn't get that for nothing. Some people say, oh, well, it's for the utility that they already brought. Some guy said that in the comments. No, I'm sorry. It's not for their job. Their role is not done here, okay? That shared ledger that R3 is bringing over, which Gilbert Verdian said, R3 is bringing over the shared ledger. That's why Quant partnered with R3. Okay, that shared ledger is the XRP ledger. It's the unified ledger. It's the regulated liability network. And Tony McLaughlin from Citibank, that's always sitting on stage with Gilbert Verdian, he also said that the regulated liability network and the shared ledger are the exact same thing. And then my video I did today, I actually show a document in part 3, unified ledger, XRP ledger. XRP is unified ledger, not QNT. in that video, I show how I couldn't believe I found this document, because I've been telling everybody, like, the regulated liability network and the unified ledger, it's all the same thing. They use different words to confuse us. It's all the same thing. But in this document I found today, put it in a video, it said that the BIS, while referring to the regulated liability network, the BIS often refers to it as the unified ledger. So here I have it documented that the BIS, when they're talking about the regulated liability network, they're calling it the unified ledger. Okay, it's the same thing. And then we have Tony McLaughlin from Citibank saying that the regulated liability network and the shared ledger are the same thing, which means the regulated liability network and the shared ledger are the unified ledger. Gilbert Verdian said we partner with R3, who are bringing in over the shared ledger. So if the shared ledger and the regulated liability network are the same thing, and the BIS is always, instead of when they refer to the regulated liability network, they call it a unified ledger. Okay, that means when Gilbert Verdian is saying we also partnered with R3, who are bringing over the shared ledger, technically what he's saying is we partnered with R3, who is bringing over the unified ledger. Excuse me, right? So, and then in the documents from the BIS, we see the interledger protocol always connecting the unified ledgers. It's always the interledger protocol that's connecting these unified ledger. So in my video, what I talked about today, one of the 8 points, so in my video, I show 9 different points, irrefutable proof that the unified ledger cannot be quant. It's the XRP ledger, okay? So my question today in the video is, okay, if the unified ledger is quant, why the heck are we seeing the interledger protocol connect the unified ledger to another unified ledger? Is there more than one quant overledger? No, there's not one. There's not more than one quant overledger. Okay, if the unified ledger is quant overledger, does this mean quant needs the interledger protocol to connect to other things, including another unified ledger? I thought quant had interoperability capability, which it does. Quant doesn't need anything to connect to anything. So why the heck are we seeing the unified ledger using the interledger protocol to connect to another unified ledger? That doesn't make sense. The unified ledger is not quant. It's not quant. And anyways, I settled that debate today in my video. It's going to come out probably tomorrow. And then I do a sequel part 4 where I go over all the 9 points. But these videos, this video that I just created, I've literally settled the debate on part 2, but I'm going to settle it even more in this video. And my passion here is just because I'm tired of the central bankers. I'm tired of central bankers and the BIS deceiving the people and confusing the quant community and the XRP community. Okay, because there are some amazing Q&T researchers out there. For example, Greg Lunt, that still believe the unified ledger is quant. Excuse me. And I could understand in a way, because like sometimes, for example, you see Gilbert Verdian referring to the unified ledger, kind of giving the implication or impression that it's quant. But what I'm telling my video today is, listen, the BIS is Gilbert's biggest client. It doesn't get bigger than that. And if the BIS wants Gilbert Verdian to give the impression to people that quant might be the unified ledger, I can tell you, I can promise you 100 million% that Gilbert Verdian has to do that. And if you think that Gilbert Verdian doesn't have to follow orders by the BIS, doesn't have to follow orders from the BIS, then you do not know how powerful the BIS is. I assure you, you have no clue how powerful the BIS is if you think that Gilbert Verdian doesn't have to do or say what they want him to say. I did a really good video on the BIS and quant partnership. It doesn't get bigger than that. That is the central banks of all central banks. Okay, and there's a saying that every war is a banker's war. We don't get war unless they want it, because they finance both sides of the conflict. Okay, it goes deep rabbit hole. I assure you, 99.99999% of the planet have no clue how powerful the BIS is. It cannot be audited by government. It cannot be audited by anybody, and it does whatever it wants. And it finances conflicts, wars, and we go on and on. But anyways, that was my rant. Sorry. It just these are significant videos that I've released today. I know I'm not trying to, don't want to sound like all puffy or like, I know it doesn't sound humble. I'm not trying to puff myself up or anything like that. Not by no means. I'm just an average guy. Okay, just an average guy. And by the grace of God, I was able to put some stuff together, and that's it. That's all. I'm not more than anybody else. That's my thoughts, buddy. I'll leave it there for now.
Well, we're not at this part yet, but there'll be a part about the reference about being above the law. I think you guys are going to like that. Anyway, that'll be that little clue towards the end. Anyway, we have a final connector that we want to get into. Let's go ahead and share this. Let's pull this up. And this is another citation from Smoke. So you know how we were just talking about R3? It gets better. You may not think it gets better, but it gets better. In the citation, Smoke gets into the weeds yet again. 2021 Credit Suisse document confirms, quote, Corda settler supports XRP. Documented. Well, again, research-doc.credit-suisse.com if you're wanting to look up the citation for yourself. As we pull it up, you're going to see some key things here. Again, very, very eye-opening to say the least. And what does it mention? Well, as we scroll down, says specifically from Credit Suisse, by the way, and like it says, source Ripple, BitPay, Credit Suisse research, cross-border B2B, as in bank-to-bank payments, are an actual pain point. For example, a problem to be solved. Again, think about what Gilbert just mentioned in regard to quant flow, in regard to over-ledger fusion, about these problems that reside with, for example, the European Central Bank and the many problems that they need to address, but they are. Is this not in alignment? I think the answer is yes. So R3 offers Corda settler, and like it says, boil it, mash it, stick it in a stew, which supports XRP, but intended to support multiple options, partnering with Swift on standards. Again, partnering with Swift. So Corda settler supports XRP, and people are wondering, like, I haven't seen no direct announcement from Swift. Well, guess what? Where are you getting your news? Where are you getting your research? Maybe all you need to do is follow people like Smoke, and I say that politely, okay? So again, Smoke brings the receipts every single time, and that's definitely worth pointing out because at the end of the day, he has even more receipts. What's the last part of the receipt? Well, as we pull it further down, on page 38, cryptocurrency impact on the payments ecosystem. And once again, boil it, mash it, stick it in a stew. Western Union testing and considering, at least then, the use of Ripple XRP for cross-border. Ripple has made, of course, $50 million investment in Western Union. Competitor, of course, MoneyGram. And we know about MoneyGram and obviously Ripple, Stellar XLM. So both really do stand out. And again, it's the technologies, okay? That's the bottom line. With that said, I will get Jesse's closing comments in regard to all the research. Give him a follow over at Apex Crypto Consulting NFA. Nothing but Alpha 24/7, 365. Take it away, sir.
Thanks a lot, bud. I try. My goodness. Yeah. So first of all, when they say in the documents, okay, it's going to use XRP, but it's intended to support other currencies. Right there, they're likely lying to you. Okay, because why would they use anything to settle? It's instant, it's cheap, it's almost free, it has the liquidity. I mean, XRP is that true global liquidity, that cross-border solution, including Stellar. Okay, those are two main ones. Okay, with XRP being the bigger one. So they have to say that in the documents. It's the same thing when they made the announcement years ago that R3 Corda was going to use the Corda settler, or R3 Corda settler was going to use XRP as the first digital settlement asset. They give the impression that maybe more will be used, something different than XRP. There's going to be other options, but they have to say that, right? They have to say that. They can't just say it's going to be the only one. Okay, so that's how they word it. Okay, but again, I've explained about the R3 Corda release, the R3 Ripple partnership. Okay, and when there was a dispute, it was SBI Holding, who's the biggest private shareholder. He owns 10% of SBI out of Japan, owns 10% of Ripple, and they're the biggest private shareholder of R3. And he is, I forget his name. Anyways, the president of the SBI. Okay, so he's the one that helped them come to finish the dispute. And I'm actually going to make another video about that. It's unreal, the stuff you could talk about R3 and the Ripple connection. Okay, so it was him that helped him settle. The goal was to, first of all, settle dispute and make sure that R3 uses XRP, and then right after that, 2 months or a few months after it was settled, the lawsuit, that's when R3 announced the Corda settler that uses XRP. But at the time, they gave the impression that maybe other currencies would be used in future. But can you please tell me why you would use like Ethereum to settle transactions, or Bitcoin, or any other of these currencies that are like not made for cross-border settlement at all, when XRP is the global liquidity solution for the world for cross-border? Like, why would you use anything else? It's absolutely foolish, and especially if you're holding 1 billion XRP. Okay, R3 has 1 billion XRP. Okay, so why would they use anything else? I'm not saying they might not use XLM a bit, or they can't settle some transactions with XDC. It's not what I'm saying, but it's just complete nonsense. It's
Well, there's a form of XDC there. I mean, let's face it. I mean, because when we
Yep,
talk about the
absolutely.
R3 Corda bridge to XDC, that's actually the biggest bridge for
Yeah,
R3. But every time we review documentation, we always see XRP included in the mix. So then there's that. But
yeah.
by all means, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, it's
100%.
okay. I think for XDC, and I'm not sure about this, but I think the majority of the utility for XDC, it seems that they're going to do some settlements, but I think a lot of the utility is coming in regards to tokenizing the documents that are related to global trade. So letters of credit, insurance documents, contracts, everything. Right? XDC is a
Bills of
platform.
lading. They
Yeah,
refer to it
bills
as
of
bills of
lading,
lading. Yep.
exactly, and all that stuff. So I think that's where it's going to get a lot of its utility is there too. So yeah, and I can't even remember what else I was going to say here. Um, oh my goodness, buddy, I don't know. I forgot what I want to say. Sorry. You go ahead, take it over, buddy.
No worries. No worries. Well, guys, gals, there you have it. I mean, the main focus point here was obviously the whole topic of XRP and Wallstreet. The connector. What's the connector? Obviously, the whole thing with R3 Core. That is a massive big deal moving forward. We mentioned a little bit about how quant plays a factor in the mix. But there you guys have it. Glad to show you, as usual. Glad to provide the receipts. Smoke makes it so easy for us. That's why we give him a shout out. It's the least that we can do is give our brother in the community, Smoke, a shout out. So thanks again to Smoke. Do us a favor if you listen to the entire outline. And I'm sure for some of you guys that are old school, you remember this movie, and that is Lethal Weapon 2. You know how Jesse was referencing the whole thing about the BIS, and I was talking about how like they're above the law, and then you hear that one guy at the end, he's like, diplomatic immunity.
Diplomatic community.
Well, in reality, they kind of have that, do they not, Jesse?
Oh yeah,
Kind
yeah,
of
they
have
do.
that diplomatic immunity, right?
Yeah, in one of my videos, I think it's Q&T secrets, Q&T secrets you won't believe. I think it's part 2 or part 3. I talk about the BIS, and there's a guy showing exactly how powerful they are. They answer to nobody. I mean, they're gonna answer to God one day, but right now they're not answering to anybody, not anybody on Earth, anyways.
But yeah, once again, keyword if you listen to the entire outline is diplomatic immunity, and we'll know that you listen to the entire outline on behalf of myself and this awesome guy over here or there we go, Jesse over at Apex Crypto Consulting NFA. Know what you have, know what you hold it. The research does trump FUD 110%. We'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.